Hey, I'm Emerson Murphy Hill. I'm here to talk to you about what makes developers productive. I'm from Google, and this is a collaboration between Google and ABB and National Instruments. So, I like to think about productivity in a software engineering organization as a machine for which you can change lots of things to make people more or less productive. And different people have different perspectives on productivity and have different knobs they can turn on the machine to change productivity. So, for example, a developer might spend more or less time seeking out information about the best tools and practices, or they might spend time shutting down email notifications during the day. Both of these things we know improve productivity, but what they're going to do depends on how much of an investment they want to make in future productivity. Likewise, a manager in the middle there might invest time in refactoring on their team to reduce code complexity, or they might give developers more autonomy over their work. Again, both things we know improve productivity. And then finally, an executive, for instance, might invest in better software development tools or might invest in less distracting office space. There's a wide range of things. These are just a couple of options that each type of member of an organization might turn on this machine to improve productivity. But the point is, they have choices and they have limited time to invest in those choices of which knobs to turn. So the first question is like, what are the set of knobs that are out there? Of course, that's just a metaphor. So really what we're talking about here is productivity factors. So here's a couple of factors. We took factors from prior literature, specifically meta reviews of developer and information worker productivity. So some of the research we got was from software engineering, like the paper on the right. Some of it was from industrial and organizational psychology, the two papers on the left. In total, there was about 48 factors that we pulled out of these papers. Some things were very common across the papers, some of them more specific to software engineering, but that was about as many as was appropriate from our methodology, which we'll see in a minute is a survey. Less distraction came from the IO Psych literature versus better software development tools. Obviously, it's going to come from the software engineering literature. We took these factors and we turned them into statements the developer might agree with or disagree with. So one statement is, I use the best tools and practices to develop my software. Another one is, I have the few interruptions or distractions while working. Developer might agree with that on a scale of 5 points, agree or disagree, or strongly agree or disagree. And we took those answers and we correlated them with, I regularly reach a high level of productivity. We expect that there's going to be a correlation for all of these based on prior research because of the way we constructed it. But the question is sort of what makes the biggest difference on that productivity outcome? What's sort of the strongest predictor? So what we did is we took these set of statements here and we ran them with all three companies, different sort of target groups, some mailing lists, some individual developers. We ran regressions here and tried to add a couple of controls, gender, tenure, and seniority, these sorts of things. Prior research suggests influences people's self-rating of productivity to try to get sort of a pure measure of what influences productivity. And here are some of the results. So the top 5 productivity factors, one of them is I'm enthusiastic about my job. Turned out to be really a strong productivity factor. The second one was people in my project are supportive of new ideas. This is at Google, we typically call it psychological safety, really important. The third one, my job allows me to make decisions about what methods I use to complete my work, a sort of type of autonomy. And the next one's about autonomy too. My job allows me to make my own decisions about managing my time. And then the last one, people who write code for my software are highly capable, efficient, thorough, communicative, and cooperative. So we sort of rank all of the things from top to bottom, and the idea is that if you're going to choose some things, all else being equal, you should choose some initiatives from the top of the list rather than the bottom. One of the interesting findings was that the general issues, the IO Psych issues rather than the software engineering ones, tended to appear on top. Some other tidbits here is that some of the results were very consistent across companies. So people on my team being supportive of new ideas, very consistent across the three companies. Same with whether receiving useful feedback about job performance influences productivity. Yeah, that was actually quite consistent across the three companies too. So other companies could probably expect similar results if they ran this method there. And then some things are inconsistent. So whether the accuracy of incoming information correlates with productivity, that was pretty varied quite a bit from company to company. And whether use of the best tools and practices influence productivity, that varied quite a bit. Please have a look at the paper for some of the other findings from this.